I saw people doing these 90-day reel challenges and they were growing like crazy amounts. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll buckle down. So I did 90 reels in 90 days and I didn't grow. I didn't grow at all. I was so determined though. I thought I was gonna be a nurse and I thought that for a really long time. When I got accepted into nursing school, the first email that I received, I don't know why it caught me so off guard, but it was good luck having a life, basically, like summarized. I was newly married at the time. Life is expensive, college is expensive, and I have a super busy schedule, so how am I going to work and how am I going to bring in income? People ask me all the time, how is your first course so successful? 100%, I attribute all of that to the conversations that I had in the one-on-one coaching. A lot of the questions that I were getting were just really repetitive, and I was like, there's something here. And so I started to write down the questions and the themes, and I started categorizing them, and that's how I built out my first course. People could see themselves in my offer because of that. My first course, when I launched it, that was my first $25,000 month, and that was month 3.
Welcome back to Creator Commerce. Our guest, Maya Nicole, built her business around one powerful idea, that you don't have to sacrifice your time, your family, or your freedom to succeed online. Maya is a social media strategist and educator who's helped over 5,000 entrepreneurs grow and monetize their Instagram presence without burnout. Through her signature programs like IG University and the Online Blueprint, she's built a business that's generated over $2.5 million on Kajabi, turning her platform into a global classroom. Maya Nicole, welcome to Creator Commerce. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. Thanks again. All right, we always kick off with the same question. How do you describe what you do to somebody who's not in this industry?
Oh gosh. So if I'm talking to my grandparents?
Talking to your grandparents? Exactly. That's a great example.
They still ask me all the time questions about what it is that I do.
Sure.
I if I were to give my grandparents the answer, I do coaching online for people who want to grow their businesses on Instagram.
Okay. So you describe yourself to them as a coach.
Yes.
Got it. Now, when you think about yourself in general, do you think about yourself as a creator, as an entrepreneur, as an expert, as a teacher? Like, how do you kind of describe what you do almost to yourself?
All of the above.
Okay.
Like, I think when I say coach, oftentimes people think like, oh, you only do one-on-one coaching or you're doing like in person. So that's why I have to like clarify with the online piece.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't do a lot of one-on-one coaching anymore. I only take on like 2 clients per year. And so like the one-to-one aspect of things, I don't do a whole lot anymore. But I work with like a lot of brands like Kajabi, for example. Yeah. And so I feel like that I have like the creator piece in that sense. But I would say all of those are applicable titles.
Okay, cool. So multifaceted.
Yeah.
Great.
For sure.
So your expertise is kind of like social media growth, Instagram growth. That is like where you're like a real expert at. Talk to us about like your journey of getting there. Like, where did you start? How did you get into this world? When did you first know you're like, oh, this is something I'm awesome at? And then almost like, how did you know you could turn this into a business over time?
I will say I never thought that this was going to be the trajectory of my life.
Okay. What did you think you were going to do?
Nursing school. That's what I was in, and I thought I was going to be a nurse, and I thought that for a really long time. Like since I entered high school, I was like, that is my plan. And I'm very much like type A perfectionist, like have my life planned out for the next 10 years type of person. And so in high school, I was like, this is what's going to happen. I actually graduated with my associate's degree from high school, so I could just like hit the ground running and just become a nurse. And when I got accepted into nursing school, the first email that I received, which is funny, this shouldn't have been the case, but I don't know why it caught me so off guard, but it was good luck having a life, basically, like summarized, like you're going to have a super busy schedule. You're going to have no time for, work. Like just be prepared for this to like become your life.
This was the nursing school being like, you're about to enter the Thunderdome.
Yes. Yeah. Like they sent the acceptance email and I think it was like the next one after that was like, buckle down.
Yeah.
And
brace yourself.
I don't know why that was like such a surprise to me. It shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But at that point I was like, okay, well, I was newly married at the time. Mm-hmm. Life is expensive. Yeah. College is expensive. Yeah. And I have a super busy schedule. Yeah. So how am I going to work and how am I going to bring in income? And so I started talking to my husband about it, just poking around online. I was like, what opportunities are out there. And, our phones hear us, right? And so I'm talking about this, and then one day on Instagram, an ad pops up on my Instagram stories, and it's like, are you a college student looking for a flexible schedule and wanting to make money? And I was like, check.
Yeah,
Wait,
totally.
all those things are me.
Yeah.
And so I swiped up and I filled out the application. And at the time, I had no idea what it was for, obviously, but it was
But you had no idea what it was for?
No, I was just like, this is great. Like, let's just see. And it ended up being that the person who had posted that ad, she was actually going to university and the same university as me. And so we met up in person at a Starbucks, and she sat me down and she's like, this is what it is. You're going to be selling hair care and skincare, and you're going to be building a team. And I was not familiar with network marketing at the time. And so after that meeting, I went and looked up network marketing, and I was like, I actually need really good hair care products. Like, my hair was like trash at the time. And I was like, skincare products, great. And do it on social media. And I'd always been passionate about social media. And I was like, sure, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like my entry point, I would say, into like entrepreneurship, was through network marketing.
Yeah.
Really, truly though, like if we go way back, I would say my journey really started when I was in high school. I started working with brands for free. I never did any paid collaborations, but like they would just do like gifted products, and it was just fun, like creating content for them and like getting stuff for free. In high school, I was like, sure. And I loved taking pictures. And so, at that time, like flat lays were still really popular. And so like I'd like lay out the flat lays. And so I would say that was like really the start of my journey, but like actually making money was with network marketing.
Got it.
And so.
Wait, so in high school, sorry, you were saying that you didn't have like an Instagram following for yourself. You were building content for these brands.
Yes.
And in exchange, they're like, here's some like the item or whatever you're pushing.
Yeah, it was it was kind of like UGC, but I was also still posting it on my Instagram account just because I wanted content.
So you're getting fluent in how to build content and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Great.
Exactly. And it was totally like a for fun thing.
Yeah.
I grew up in a really small town in Idaho, so like I didn't know anyone who was making money on social media. Like that was like a foreign concept, basically. Like I saw people who were doing it, but I was like, okay, that's cool for them, but like that can never be me.
Yeah.
And so when network marketing fell in my lap, I was like, wait a second, like this actually could be me.
Yeah.
And so I started network marketing. I think it was like the next day. I was like, I ordered my package or whatever, and it came to my door, and I started network marketing. And I got the bug for creating content, like for making money and, being able to have my own schedule and like starting this entrepreneurship journey. And my husband saw that I was like lit up by it. And he's like, when are you going to drop out of nursing school?
Well, I was just about to ask. So nursing school is how long usually?
So I was in it. I would be buckling down for a 3-year.
3-year.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how far along were you when you got this like bug in nursing school?
Nursing school hadn't even started.
Oh, so this is before. Oh, got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I got accepted.
Great.
So I think I got accepted in November.
Okay.
I started network marketing officially in December.
Oh
So
my
like
gosh.
1 month later.
Got it. Okay, cool.
And then my first semester started in January.
Okay.
And so already by the time that first semester had even started, my husband was like, when are you going to drop out? When are you going to drop out? And I was like, hey, bro.
Give me a minute.
Like, I was like, I've worked up until this point my whole entire life, basically, to get to this moment.
Totally.
And nursing school is getting into nursing school is
no
not,
joke. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's not an easy feat by any means.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to see this through. Because again, once I have my plan, once I have that direction, like I'm running with it. And so I was like, don't even tell him, don't talk to me about it. But after my first semester ended, which I will say my first semester was a hard time because that was COVID.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So halfway through my first semester is when COVID hit, everything went online, and doing nursing like online. And I had to do all of my like practice on my husband. And he's like, I'm not loving this, and which I don't blame him. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to take the summer because we don't have school during the summer.
Okay.
I was like, I'm just going to take the summer to think about it. So I took my network marketing business like full time. I say full time with air quotes.
Yeah.
I was not making very much money at all. Like if we're talking like how much I made versus expenses, like maybe like $200 to $500 a month.
In profit.
In profit.
Yeah.
But that felt like a lot to me.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, I love what I'm doing. I was so lit up by it. And so
like the entrepreneurship, like that bug is really entrepreneurship that got you going.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
And I loved like the team building, but I really, really loved like content creation and Instagram and posting on Instagram and selling on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like looking back now, like everything led to where I am today. But like in the moment, like I wasn't like, oh, I need to become an Instagram expert. I was just, that's just always what I've loved. Like even going back to my high school days when I was creating content for those brands, like I loved the content creation aspect of it and really figuring out like what's going to capture people's attention and like all of that. But after that summer, I was like, I'm going to drop out of nursing school. And so I dropped out of nursing school and I took my network marketing business to what I would consider like the next level, which was maybe $500 to $1,000 per month. And I just kept working that. And it wasn't until Reels actually came out. I think that was timeline wise. Reels came out in like October of, I want to say like 2020. I want to say is when Reels came out. Don't quote me on that. But when Reels came out, I was like, that's not for me. Like I had never been in like the TikTok world. I was
the
like,
short form video is not your thing.
I was like, no.
Okay.
Like I don't want the whole short form video thing. But then I saw people doing these 90-day reel challenges and they were growing like crazy amounts. Tens of thousands of followers. And me having my business on social media, I was like, I know what that could do for my business if I had that type of visibility. And so I was like, okay, I guess I'll buckle down. I'm going to do this 90-day social media challenge. And so I did 90 reels in 90 days. And I didn't grow.
You didn't grow at all.
I didn't grow at all.
People talk about it's the thing on LinkedIn now, like all these platforms of you just got to build content. So like talk to us about like that part of it. Because everybody's like, this is the only way to do it. But if you do it and it doesn't happen, it's got to be like demoralizing.
Oh yeah. Bit, right? I was like, wait a second. Like I'm not growing tens of thousands of followers like everyone else is doing these 90-day challenges. And I was so determined though. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do another 30 days and we're going to see what happens. And so I did another 30 days and it was like,
this is all in service of your network marketing business, right? Not your your evolved business.
Nope, not my evolved business. Still network marketing. And during this time, I was posting content for network marketing, but also like for people who were on my team too, because they obviously were wanting to grow their business online too. And so it was like kind of like a mix of like Instagram tips and kind of a mix of like network marketing content too, like actually the promotion of the product as well.
But you started layering in like how to build on Instagram, like insights into like the platform versus the products you were selling.
Yes. And it was mainly for my network marketing team because I knew that they were following me and I'm like, okay, if they see these tips, then hopefully they implement these and they see results from it too. But it was, again, never with the perspective of like, oh, I'm going to become an Instagram expert. And so I just continued down that route. And so 120, I posted 120 times over a 90-day period.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't until 2 weeks after that 90-day period that I grew to 10K followers. So I grew from 4,000 to 10,000 followers. And you're like, what was the 4,000? That was like friends of friends. High school friends,
ecosystem.
Family, like that's just who that was. And so that growth was huge because I hadn't ever grown before that. And so when I hit that 10K mark, that was back when the swipe up link,
of course.
remember on stories, you had to hit that 10K mark. I was like, I am so cool. I'm like walking down the street. I'm like,
it's like a badge.
Everyone should know who I am. Like, come on. I think it was like 2 months after that that Instagram gave everyone the link on stories. I was like, okay, I'm not that cool anymore.
You're cool for a minute.
I was cool for a minute, but I never even thought past 10K followers. Like I just wanted to reach 10K followers. I was like, okay, and I hit it and I was like, great. Like I had nothing past that, but my follower growth didn't slow down. And this is kind of like where the journey kind of just happened to me. It wasn't like me necessarily choosing the next step, but it was like I guess like a God moment of like, this is where you need to move.
Wow.
And it was, people were filling my DMs. They're like, I see that you're growing. Can you help me grow my business too? And I'm like, yeah, sure, join my network marketing team.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, I already have my own small business, and they were selling products or they were already selling services like fitness coaches. And they're like, well, we don't want to join your network marketing team. I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense. And so I decided.
Were you surprised by that?
I was.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was super surprised. And that was all just from me just posting my content, that people had found me and they saw my growth and they saw my story and they were resonating with me.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw out some one-on-one coaching spots.
Totally.
So I pulled out Calendly and I was like, I don't even know how to use this tool, but we're just going to like set a price. I don't even know what price I should even set it at. And I set it at $100 for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Plus, they got my ebook for free, and I just like randomly built an ebook. Don't ask me why I chose to do that. I did, and so they got my ebook for free, and then they got 2 weeks of support after that. And I was like, sure, I don't even know if this is a good price. I don't know if anyone's going to buy it. I don't even. Why would anyone want coaching from me?
Yeah.
I posted it, and 2 weeks later, I was booked out for a month in advance, and I stayed booked out for the next 8 months.
Just coaching.
Just doing coaching.
So this is like a version of like your side gig from your network marketing business. You're getting, it's like going, it's on fire.
Yes.
And so you're like, oh my gosh. And so how did you feel about the opportunity cost of that? Meaning like you're booked out for 8 months coaching.
Yeah.
What happened to your network marketing business and how did you think about that transition?
Yeah. So that was really, really hard for me, mainly because I had built a team and I loved the community aspect of it. I had built a really strong community, even locally. And so we did a lot of meetups and everything like that. So that was the hardest thing for me of thinking about, do I pivot? Do I not pivot? Do I keep trying to do this, but like split my time between these two businesses? And I ultimately decided that I needed to just go full send into doing coaching.
Yeah.
And that first month that like I was like officially in business, which was August 18th of 2021. That's when I first officially launched my business, LLC,
That's
everything.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great.
I hit $5,000 in revenue. And that was my first 5K month. And it was my first month in business.
Yeah.
And I had never done that in network marketing in my 18 months that I had done in network marketing. And I was like, there's something here. I don't want to look back and be like, what if you had gone all in?
Yeah.
And I just didn't want there to be a what if there. So I was like, network marketing, I can always come back to that. I can always pick up. I might have to rebuild my team. I might have to, start from scratch, but like I know how to do that because I've done it before. Yeah. And I was like, I just had to trust my gut on that one, and I went full send. And so I stepped away from network marketing at that time, and I've never looked back on that. But I'm so grateful for network marketing. And it's interesting. The more entrepreneurs I talk to, a lot of people have gotten their start in network marketing.
Is that right? Okay, cool.
Or photography. I don't know why. Maybe that's just like people who are in my world, but like it just breeds really great entrepreneurs.
What lessons did you learn from like network marketing? I think maybe that's a common thread behind it all.
Yeah. I mean, network marketing, at least the team that I was a part of, they gave so freely when it came to trainings.
Great.
And so I learned so much about social media. I learned so much about building a business. Not necessarily like hiring employees, because I didn't have employees, but like just interacting with other people like in an online setting and like helping them learn. And like I was creating, I guess, courses at the time. I didn't even realize I was creating courses, but I was creating trainings for my team of like, here's how to, here's information on the product and here's information on social media. So like I was doing a lot of the things that I do now in my business. I just didn't really know that that's what it was. Yeah. And so I would say a lot of the skills that I learned and a lot of the knowledge that I had that was really helpful for me in hitting that first 5K month in my business, it came from network marketing.
Yeah, it's like training.
Yeah, exactly. And I was not so scared of doing one-on-one coaching because I had done one-to-one coaching through network marketing.
Oh, cool.
With the people who were on my team and supporting them and onboarding them and like all these things. And like that's another thing, like onboarding process. Like I learned all of that through network marketing. And so that was really helpful for me. But after that first month, that first month is when I decided to step away from network marketing. So it didn't take long. Yeah. I think it was actually within 15 days of me officially starting my business where I was like, this is the route that I need to go.
Great.
And being booked out that far in advance, I was like, this is great, but like I want to serve all these other people. And so that's where I started to think about a course. And so I launched my...
Okay, let's talk about that because I think that's a common thread.
Yeah.
coaching is amazing and it can be very transformative
Yeah.
and it's a lot of value provided, but it's not scalable.
Yeah.
Right. What ends up happening is you can do one-on-one, one-on-one coaching, one-to-many coaching.
Yeah.
But it's like a session and you're kind of paid for your time a little
Yep.
bit. Did you think about that? Like, was that an immediate thing? Like, okay, cool, I'm booked out, but I know I want to do something scalable, or was it, gosh, I'm getting through all these like coaching sessions and I'm tired and I want to do it? Like, how did that evolve for you?
The tired aspect didn't arrive until 8 months later,
Got it.
truthfully. But for me, the coaching thing, there was two big things, like signals, I guess, of like, I need to do something else besides just one-on-one coaching. One of them was that I was booked out and people were like, okay, well, you're booked out 2 months in advance, but like, what do I do?
Between now and then.
Yeah, between now and then.
Like,
so I was
is there
like,
anything I can get from you between now and then?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And then the second thing was I was doing, this is going to sound crazy. I was doing like 5 coaching calls per day on
my God.
average, Monday through Friday, sometimes even on Saturdays.
sounds
Like I was
tiring.
talking to a lot of people,
Yeah.
which was really, really helpful actually. And I saw common themes. Like people were asking the same questions over and over again in different ways, right?
Yeah.
Like everyone thinks that they have their own unique thing that they really do need one-on-one coaching for. And I'm not in any way trying to devalue one-on-one coaching. Like I think that there is definitely a time and a place for it for sure. But a lot of the questions that I were getting were just really repetitive. And I was like, there's something here. And
Yeah.
so I started to write down the questions and the themes and I started categorizing them. And that's how I built out my first course.
Got it.
And so anytime I talk to people, they're like, do I do one-on-one coaching? You know, and they're starting their business. They're like, do I do one-on-one coaching? Do I not do one-on-one coaching? Do I just do a course? Like, how do I go about that? And I'm like, do one-on-one coaching at least to get started, even if that's not your long-term plan. Because like you said, it's not scalable.
Yeah.
And being a mom now where I have very, very limited time, like I understand like the value of time and
Yeah.
it's a little bit different now. And so I'm like, don't do it forever. But there's so much power in sitting down and having those conversations with your people. And it's so different than asking ChatGPT about, you know, this is my ideal client. Like,
Yeah.
tell me more about them. Like, and actually like sitting down and having those conversations is so powerful.
Yeah.
People ask me all the time, and I'll talk more numbers here in just a second, but how is your first course so successful?
Yeah.
100%. I attribute all of that to the conversations that I had in the one-on-one coaching, because I had all of the data. People were literally telling me, this is exactly what I'm struggling with, and this is the exact way that I phrase my pain points and my questions. And so I was writing down exactly how they were phrasing the questions, exactly how they were phrasing their pain points. And I use that in my messaging. I use that on my sales pages. And so people could see themselves in my offer because of that.
Yeah.
And so my first course, when I launched it, that was my first $25,000 month. And
my
that was
gosh.
month 3
So
in
sorry,
business.
this is the LLC is three months old.
3
You had a
months old.
25K month.
Yes.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
That
And
is
so
amazing.
I had my first 5K month 1,
Yeah.
doing just one-on-one coaching. Month 2, I want to say it was like a 10K month, also doing one-on-one coaching. I had just scaled it. I had increased my prices due to demand.
Yeah,
I was
totally.
like, this is crazy.
So on that one, like pricing
Yeah.
is always something that people are like, what do I charge? And your like journey is common. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know how to price it.
Yeah.
Let me throw something out there.
Yeah.
And then you kind of up or down depending
Yeah.
on what demand is, right? That's kind of what sounds like what you guys did.
Yeah, for sure. Anytime I'm asked about pricing, my advice is always just start where you feel comfortable, and you will get to a point where you're either so confident enough or so booked out where it's going to, like, it's just going to be inevitable that there's that price increase there. And I think pricing is such an individual thing at the end of the day, because I can say like, oh, if I go through this course and I see the value of this course, I can say, hey, I think that you should charge $297
Yeah.
for this. But if you don't believe that you should charge $297 for that, and then you go out and start marketing that, you're going to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is $279.
You feel bad about it
Yeah, you
almost.
feel
Yeah,
bad about
yeah,
it.
yeah.
And then you know, when people come into your direct messages and they start asking about pricing, like you're hesitant, you're scared about that, and there's just not that confidence there.
Totally.
And even if you're not like, you know, directly saying like, I'm not confident in my pricing,
Yeah.
people can feel that.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say it's an individual thing, because you need to start at the price point that you feel confident at.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like, I'm going to throw it out there for $100
Yeah.
and like, let's just see what happens. And within 8 months, my one-on-one coaching pricing went from $100 to $997.
Oh my gosh. 10x essentially.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
gosh.
so it's like, anytime I think about pricing and people are worried about pricing, it's like, just start somewhere.
Yeah.
Like you can always increase the price. Yeah. Better to start somewhere at a price point that you're confident at and just like get it out there in the world and then refine it. And that's how your offers should be anyways, not just the pricing of it, but just put the offer out there. It's never going to be perfect and there's always going to be refinement. And so that's what I would say in terms
That's amazing.
of pricing.
So I wanted to circle back on essentially like your like audience-led growth, right? Meaning you were doing these coaching sessions and you saw this common thread of like, again, different versions of the same question. You were like smart enough to be like, hey, let me write these down and categorize them.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, a way to answer these questions at scale is courses, right? That is like also like very entrepreneurial, but also a common thing. It's like, well, what is your audience asking for?
Yeah.
That is the demand, and it's your job to fill that with supply.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what you did here, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
And that is actually how pretty much all of my offers were created for like the first year and a half of my business. So I launched that first course and it did extremely well, obviously. But it was on Reels specifically. And people were like, well, what about Instagram stories? What about this? And so from the questions that I got inside of that Reels course, it literally, like I took those questions and I created a membership out of it. So like for me, like people are like, oh, like what do I create? I'm like, go to your people. Talk to those people and they're going to tell you exactly what you need to create. And so my membership, which is still actually to this day, my signature offer, it's IG University. That was launched in January. So that would be like about 5 months after I had started my business officially. And from there, it took me about 1 year to hit 50K months. And that was just building recurring revenue through my membership and just continuing to just filter people into my membership.
Got it. So this is where it gets really fascinating. So like, talk to us about how your business is structured. You mentioned a lot of it, but just like talk to us about each segment of it. And if you wouldn't mind sharing like how it's going, what percentage comes from what, like I think the audience and myself would love to learn from you about this kind of part of your business. Yeah,
for sure. So I had done pretty much only pre-recorded trainings at that point. And like I had done some, like I said, an ebook, some PDF worksheet type things. That was what was included inside of my Reels course and inside of my membership. That was fully my business with the addition of one-on-one coaching for the first year of my business. And actually, I didn't even do one-on-one coaching for the first full year because like I had mentioned, I actually burnt out of one-on-one coaching. So doing 8 months of back-to-back coaching sessions, I was...
5 a day, 5 days a week is a lot.
I was burnt out. I was really, really tired. And I also realized that like I was capped because I couldn't put my time and energy into scaling the things that were actually scalable. And so after 8 months of doing that, I ended up stepping away and totally cutting off one-on-one coaching. And that was actually... looking back now, I would say that was probably the moment where I unlocked my next level of income potential. Because at the time, I was capped at $25,000 months, which is great. Don't get me wrong.
And this is coaching and courses.
Coaching, courses, and then my membership.
Your membership had launched. Okay, got it. Yep.
My membership had launched, and I was hitting those consistent 25K months, but I was like, I want that next level. But just because my calendar and capacity was just so full of one-on-one coaching, I just didn't have the time and energy to be able to put into my membership or any other offer to be able to scale it. And so I stepped back from one-on-one coaching and I put my full time and energy into promoting my membership because I saw the compounding stacking effect there. I was like, ooh, there's something here.
Well, so what do you mean by that? Like maybe explain that to the audience. What does that mean?
So my membership at the time was only $47 a month, which... this was like a mindset thing for me because my course, if I sold my course, which at the time was $97, I'm like, that's actually more money. But I saw the compounding effect of like looking at it as not just $47 or this is only $47. It's like, if this person stays on for 6 months, this person stays on for a year.
Like lifetime value. Totally different.
And this is actually crazy. I just want to add this in here. Just this last week, I was talking with one of my clients. She's been in my membership since 1 month after I launched it. Lifetime value of just her, $2,000.
Totally. So it's the difference between like a one-time transaction and essentially a subscription.
Yeah.
Right? And they're different revenue.
Yeah.
This can play out, but you have to have a different time horizon.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I started to realize that of like, oh, like I can bring someone in and I know my membership's really good and people are staying in this membership for X amount of time.
That's great.
Then I'm actually making this amount of money. And so I put my full focus on my membership at the time. And then after 1 year into my business, my membership was rolling. I think I had hit around like, I want to say like 300 to 400 people inside of my membership at $47 a month. And there was a 6-month and a yearly option, but my membership, actually even still to this day, the monthly option is the most popular.
Yeah.
But I was like getting that bug to have more conversations with people again, because again, I had stepped away from one-on-one coaching, but I also knew I didn't want to get back into the one-on-one coaching, but I still wanted to have conversations. And so then I dove into doing live programs and live master classes. Right. And that was really, really fun. I did that for about 1.5 years until I got pregnant and had my first baby. And then I was like, again, things just needed to shift because I just didn't have the capacity and the time and energy to be able to teach live.
Totally.
And so I guess to answer
kind of the same problem as coaching, right?
Yeah, for sure. And so to answer your question of like, what does my business look like now in terms of structure? It's changed a lot over the years. And I think each season has had its purpose. And, at first it was the one-on-one coaching. And then I went through a season of having like the live programs. But through and through, my membership has been like, that's been my bread and butter. I'm close to hitting $1 million in revenue just through my membership. And I launched it in January of 2022.
Oh my gosh.
And so that is like, I want to say on average, I make around $250,000 a year just from my membership.
Oh my God.
And so that's my bread and butter. Anything else on top of that is obviously great.
Yeah.
And I would say, if I were to give like the next in terms of revenue programs, and I've structured my programs differently over time, again, through the different seasons of life. And when I first did programs, it was just totally live. Now the way that I run programs is they're pre-recorded in like the sense of a course, but they get live support in different periods of time. So like right now, my program that I'm relaunching, this will be my 6th time relaunching it, is they get access to like a course, like a core curriculum, and then they get access to 2 6-week periods per year where they get chat support with me.
Great.
And so there's still that interaction, but it's a little bit more
time efficient or scalable for you,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
you
for
can do
me,
it in different venues and different formats and stuff.
Yeah, and being on calls with babies is hard.
Yeah.
Especially I'm breastfeeding, and so it's like trying to figure that out. And so like the flexibility of the chat support is really, really helpful.
Great.
And it's also great for my clients too, because I understand that they're busy.
Yeah.
And so it's actually, I would say, even better for the both of us, just schedule wise. And so I'd say that's the next in terms of income is my program. And then from there, I mean, I have lots of like little things. Like I have not pre-recorded, but like recorded master classes where I hosted it live and now I sell the master classes as a recording. I do 2 one-on-one coaching clients per year.
Okay.
And so I have a lot of different things. Like I have a membership, I have programs, I have courses, I have templates. Templates are actually huge for me as well.
Yeah.
People just love the ease of having something done for them. So that's another one in my business, one-on-one coaching. I do mastermind. So I have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, the flexibility of the platform or what you do with it is phenomenal.
Yes.
Like that's so rumor has it you've made, I think overall like $2.5 million
just on Kajabi.
Just on Kajabi, which is extraordinary, and massive congratulations to you on
Thank
that.
you.
Like, so what does that unlock for you? Like, because a lot of the times I think your journey is so similar to a lot of our creators or our customers, our heroes.
Yeah.
But they don't always get to the $2.5 million threshold, right?
Yeah.
And I think what you're describing is like that journey of like, well, I was doing this and then I did this and I did this. It's created like this really, I think, diverse, flexible business that you can kind of push and pull as you want depending on your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like what other things did it unlock for you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, no, that's a really great question. I was actually on Teachable before.
Yeah.
And that was where I first launched my very first course.
Yeah.
And when I started to build out my membership, I was plugging and playing and Teachable, and I was like, this just doesn't have all the features that I want for all the things that I wanted for my membership, but also knowing too that like I knew that there was more things on the horizon of like I wanted one place that could be home. And so that's actually where I found Kajabi. And so I found Kajabi, I think next month will be 4 years officially on Kajabi.
Thank you.
And I just loved that it could be my home for all of the things, especially, and I know I keep saying this word seasons, but like for me, like if I could give anyone one piece of advice, it's like build a business that works through the seasons. My business has worked through COVID. It's worked through pregnancy of my first baby, birth of my first baby, pregnancy of my second baby, birth of my second baby. Like
beautiful.
Moves. I mean, there's just like so much that has happened, and like that only skims the surface, obviously. Like there's a lot of life things that have happened since I started my business, and just having the flexibility of like, okay, I don't want to do one-on-one coaching anymore. And like, do I need to up and move platforms? And do I need to like, it's not a heavy lift. Like for me to like, almost like, it's not this easy. And anyone who's listening to this knows it's not this easy, but like turning off a switch, right? Of like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. Or like, not even like that life is not allowing you to, but also maybe your heart's not in it anymore. And that's going to be the evolution of your business. And I think that that's something that's super interesting that a lot of people don't talk about either is, you know, what you start with is oftentimes not going to be what you are still doing in 4 or 5 or 10 years from now. And it's okay. Like giving yourself the permission of like, to evolve. Yes, I do still have like my membership, which is one of my signature offers. My course that I started with, I don't sell it anymore. Did it work in that season and was it great? Yes, but it got to a point where my heart wasn't in it anymore. And so being able to just, again, just like turning off those switches, just depending on what works for my season.
Well, you've alluded to this, which is awesome. It's like kind of the flexibility in the seasons of it. Like, is that a version of like, you know, how it's like becoming you're a mom with 2 kids under 2. Right? So you're in a season. Like, how has that affected your relationship with your business? And I think I know the answer here, but I'd love to like hear from you on that.
I would say the biggest thing is time. Like just recognizing like the time goes by really, really fast and like how I want to spend my time. And, you know, I'm not in a season right now where I want to be teaching live. And it doesn't mean that there's no power in teaching live. Was there a season where I heavily enjoyed and like craved teaching live? 100%. And do I think that I'll get back to a season like that, you know, in a future? 110%. But right now, like my goal isn't necessarily like make the most amount of money. It's how can I make the most amount of money as easy as possible so I can spend as much time with my babies. My first baby turns 2 here in a few days. And so it's just wild. Like looking back, you know, you look back at pictures and you're like, oh my gosh, time goes by so fast. And like, I don't ever want to look back and be like, oh, like I wish that, you know, I hadn't taught as much live and I wish I had spent more time with my kids. And so I think that just the ability to have that flexibility of, you know, I don't want to teach live and I want to be able to spend more time with my kids. And that's just really, really powerful. Like beautiful. Being able to have a business that shifts as my priorities shift in my personal life. And Graham Cochran actually says this really, really well. He says, build a life-giving business. And ever since I heard him talk about that at Kajabi Here Live, I think it was in Austin when he talked about that. That was like, I don't know why, like that phrase has stuck with me ever since. And that was actually, I think I was pregnant with my first at the time when I heard that. And so it's just kind of been that phrase that's just stuck with me. And my phrase that I've came up with over the last few years is stacking income and stacking memories. Like I want to be able to have a business that continues to make money even while I'm making money, but also makes money while I'm making memories. And so that's just always in this season of life, and I think always too, that's going to be the goal for me is just being able to have a business that just ebbs and flows.
Great. Awesome. All right. So there's like a lot of noise in the creator economy, particularly on Instagram and these social media platforms about like going viral or hacking growth. Like what's a myth you wish more experts kind of knew about what does or does not work on these platforms?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like all of the content that goes viral, or all the content that would go viral, is actually not the content that would build your business.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So, there's a struggle with going viral, and that is that the struggle is actually what people are going after, which is the fact that you're reaching a wide variety of people, right? A large amount of people, I should say. And with that, majority of those people are not your ideal client.
So it's like an ideal customer, like ICP.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And so if we're talking about, using your content to build your business, well, you want your content to be driving in people to your Instagram account and creating visibility of people who are actually going to buy your offer.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just vanity metrics, right? At the end of the day, so I think that that's the biggest thing is, yes, you might be able to go viral. And I do think that there are, formulas even for going viral in any niche. And I think that, there are creators who have really figured out, post this, say this, do this, and you will go viral.
Yeah.
And that's fantastic. But at the end of the day, are you on Instagram to get 1 million followers, or are you on Instagram to build a business and create an impact?
Yeah.
And I think that's the big thing you have to take a step back and ask yourself. And don't get me wrong, and being an Instagram expert myself, it is really easy to get caught up in the vanity metrics of oh, well, this didn't do as well. Or oh, this person, I see that they have, 1 million views. I want that too.
Yeah.
But having gone viral many of times myself, I'm that is actually not what builds your business. It's the compounding effect of each post. And so I think about my own business, there's not one post, there's not one story, there's not one comment that has built my business. It's the collection of all of those things.
Yeah.
And even amongst the posts that have gone viral, not one post built my business.
Yeah, I get it.
And so I think that that's the biggest thing. And I wouldn't even say it's necessarily a myth, but I think that that's really a thing you have to continually check yourself.
Yeah.
Because social media, it's built to keep you on the platform and it's built around numbers. I mean, it literally is an algorithm. And so I think just taking that step back and asking yourself, am I creating this for the heartbeat that is behind the screen?
Yeah.
Or am I creating this to serve the algorithm?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, you will stay on a never ending hamster wheel if you're trying to create to serve the algorithm.
Yeah. What metrics do you care about?
Money, sales.
So great, sales.
Because, and I want to clarify there, obviously, I'm here to build a business to make money,
of
but
course,
also too, because I understand that the biggest transformation that I can provide people is not through my free content.
Yep.
Not to say that there's no value in my free content. There is. I mean, you can learn so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a podcast. I mean, I have 2,000 plus pieces of Instagram content.
Yeah, amazing.
But ultimately, the transformation, the thing that actually changes people's lives, that happens inside of my offer. And that can only happen inside of my offer because of the way that it's set up and because that's where I can actually give my time, my energy, my knowledge packaged in a way that is conducive to someone's journey to whatever that end goal is. And so I just want to clarify there.
Yeah.
But other things in terms of Instagram, comments are a huge one because of direct message automation.
Yep.
And being able to monetize through that aspect of it as well. And so through direct message automation, I do track a lot of sales through that, but also leads too. So how am I building my email list? Because I probably shouldn't even be saying this as an Instagram expert, but email is way better.
Yeah.
Email is way better.
Talk to me about why. I would love to dive into. That's a big difference and a big point of view.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think it comes back to that algorithm hamster wheel that I was talking about is no matter what your focus is on Instagram, you're kind of always on that algorithm hamster wheel. There's kind of not really any way to get off of that because obviously anyone who's on the platform as a business owner is on there for visibility. As they should be.
Audience building.
Yeah, audience building, which is great. And in order to serve that goal, you kind of need to be on I don't want to say the hamster wheel of the algorithm, but you need to know what's happening. And
you have to be where the people are too, right? Like,
yeah,
that's part
exactly.
Of it. Yeah,
and your content has to evolve as consumers evolve, as the creator economy evolves too on Instagram. And so I just want to make that clear. But in terms of email, you own the platform.
Yeah. You own the relationship.
Yeah. You own the relationship. And so...
Meaning you have their name, their email address, so you can communicate to them outside of the social media platforms.
And directly.
Yes.
You know, when we're talking about Instagram content, you post this Instagram content, and I don't know, like statistically, it probably depends on each person's audience. What I see a lot of people say is like anywhere between like 5 to 10% of your people, so your following, is seeing your content. 5 to 10%.
Yeah, that's low.
Yeah, that's so low.
So even though people follow you.
Yeah, totally. And if we're talking about like an email open rate, if you're like, oh, my email open rate is 5 to 10%, I'd be like, honey, let's sit down and let's have a chat.
Totally, totally right.
But email, I mean, you know, you can reach 50%, 60%.
For sure.
Like,
Absolutely.
I mean, some people even have 90% open rates, which is like, you know, if we're comparing that to social media content, that's insanity.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so just being able to reach them and also not be controlled. You're just not controlled by the algorithm, right? You're ending up in their inbox week over week over week over week, unless they unsubscribe, right? Yep. And also too, just the depth of conversation that can happen through an email versus through social media content, it's just, there's just no comparison there. Like I love writing, and so my captions are usually long on Instagram, but it still doesn't even compare to what I can share inside of an email. Yeah,
the value you can get across in an email.
Yeah, exactly. And also too, like for me, I share a lot of things that I don't share on social media through my email list, because those are people who have chosen to opt in to me and to see more of the behind the scenes aspect of it. And so I think also I'm able to give more freely in that aspect as well. So I don't know. I don't just think if you're a business owner and you're not building your email list, like you're missing out on huge opportunities to relationship build with your audience. Huge opportunities for you to build your business.
Yeah. So sales emails are like your main metrics of like, hey, things are going well.
Yes.
And the reason I ask is because you made this really, I think, elegant point around ICP or ideal customer profile. Yeah. Like you can go viral. That's great. It's like a moment.
Yeah.
But if you're being an entrepreneur, there's this like, okay, what's working for my business side of this?
Yeah.
And virality on this stuff is like nice to have. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's like sales, direct relationships that create direct value for both the person who's on the other side of that value transaction and yourself, right? So it's like a very entrepreneurial mindset, which I think is really cool, particularly as, you know, like these social media platforms, you're right, the algorithm changes from like month to month to month, from platform to platform. One day one can be gone, the next day it's back.
Yeah.
And if you're building your entire future on these things, there's real risk.
Yeah.
Like existential risk that exists if you're not thinking about owning these parts of your business.
Yeah. Well, I think when TikTok had that shut down for like, I think it was like 24 hours, maybe not even 24 hours. I think that was like a real awakening moment for a lot of people of, oh crap, what would I do if that were to be a permanent thing?
Yeah.
And so I think that don't have all of your eggs in one basket, but I also think too, like social media is so powerful. Instagram obviously is like my bread and butter. Totally. I love Instagram. Yeah. But even being an Instagram expert, I'm like, you have to build
the business.
You have to build the business, and you have to have the business as the focus at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so like going back to virality, it's like, am I posting this to go viral? Like, is that like the thought process behind it? Or is it like, am I posting this to move forward my business in some sort of way? And so again, for me, that's leads and sales, but also to the conversation of, is this piece of content going to deepen my relationship with the people who are already there?
Totally.
And so, yes, the virality aspect of it, of like getting the views, but also I think a lot of times too, people forget about their own audience that they already have.
Yeah.
It's like
how to serve them well.
Yeah. And, you know, I've worked with clients who have 1,000, 2,000 followers that make more than some of my clients with 500,000 followers. Totally. And I'm not saying that just like in generality, like in my brain, I can think of very specific people in that sense. And that's fine, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's all about the money at the end of the day, but like, I think a lot of people chase the virality because they think that that's actually what's going to put money in their pocket. And that's not the case.
Yeah. It's kind of fascinating also because you were talking about earlier the reasons you like your membership versus these one-time transactions. And the thing you just said that I think resonates with me specifically is like, you have this existing audience. Like, it's actually a lot easier to provide this existing audience a lot more value than go out and get somebody new.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit of like the lifetime value part of this, right?
For
If
sure.
people who love what you do, love the content you're putting out there, love your ideas, love your expertise, give them more of that. And if you price and package it the right way, they'll feel like they're getting more value and they're already here with you on the journey, right?
Yeah.
There's something about that.
Yeah, that reminds me of something that Brendan Burchard said
Yeah, we love
at
Brendan.
the retreat. The top affiliates all went to California.
Yeah, Napa.
Yeah,
it was really great.
and it was amazing.
Yeah.
And one little, I don't even know if hack is probably not the best word, but I guess strategy that he said is go to your Kajabi and filter for your top 10 lifetime value customers and offer them something that's equal to or more than what they have spent for their lifetime value. And I was like, like my mind was blown. I was like, and it goes back to exactly what you said. It's so much like those people are already bought in on you.
Yeah.
Like
They love what you do.
Yeah, they love what you do. So like if you sell them something else, they already love what you do.
Yeah, it's great.
And that little like I went home and I totally did that.
Great.
And I did it to my top 5 and it made me $20,000.
Great. And on the other side, it's like they're doing it because they love it. Like, so it's like a really fair, honest way to go about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, for
right.
sure.
That's really, really cool. That's like congratulations. That's great.
Thanks. Yeah. But I think it's going back to that heartbeat.
Yeah.
Right? Like who's the heartbeat behind the screen? And like, am I focused on the numbers or am I focused on the person?
Yeah. So you talk about, I mean, you're an Instagram expert, right? So a little bit of you alluded to, or you said explicitly, like, hey, you got to kind of play the game a little bit of like, if you're going to be on these platforms, you have to know what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
Like, how do you balance that? Because the problem is you can just get on the hamster wheel in perpetuity.
Yeah.
And if you never break it, you do burn out. Like a lot of these creators who are just like going after the follower counts, going after these like vanity metrics, they actually literally do burn out and they're like, I'm done. Like, and a lot of them quit jobs because they wanted to do this or took like excessive risk, but didn't think about it like an entrepreneur like you do. Like, how do you think about the balance between posting and not getting caught up in like the burnout of it all?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you have to continually like check yourself for sure. Because I think even, you know, you might be really focused for a month and you're like, okay, I'm not focused on the metrics, the vanity metrics and going viral. And then like, you'll see someone else go viral and you're like, oh, that seems really nice.
Totally.
Like maybe I want to go viral. And then you're like, okay, what do I need to go viral? And so I think for me, I've just had a lot of moments where I have to like step back and check myself of like, okay, why am I on this platform? What am I creating content to do? And I think that the biggest thing for me is, again, it focused on not just the followers, not just the views, but like, how is this building my business? And is this building my business? And coming back to that, because if that's not working out, then I need to pivot my strategy there. And so for me, it's not even, and this is actually interesting too, because inside of IG University, I still have that offer. And so I have a community aspect of it, built in Kajabi communities, which I love. I just have to plug this, not because this is Kajabi. I was on Facebook doing Facebook groups before. I just love Kajabi communities.
Oh, amazing.
It is
Thank you.
so
Shout
so
out to
good.
the team. Yeah.
It is so good. But I was actually just chatting this week, this last week actually, with one of my students in there. And she was talking about, you know, this exact conversation of, how do you not get caught up in like the vanity metrics? And she actually mentioned to me, which I thought was funny. She's like, I've noticed that your views on Instagram have been lower these past few months. And she's like, how do you deal with that? And I was like, you know, that's actually very interesting that you brought that up, because even though my views have been lower, my content has never been more aligned and I'm making more money.
That's the best part, because it's like we talked about earlier, the KPI or the metrics that matter to you are different than the metrics that maybe are publicly visible.
Yeah. And so I think that that's like, for me, that's how I get off of that like algorithm hamster wheel, and like also balance it too, because if it's not building my business, then I need to go back to why is it not building my business? And so sometimes that is like, okay, well, there is no visibility. And
Yeah.
so then it's like, okay, well, what do I need to do to get that visibility? And so I think posting on social media, showing up on social media through the lens of your business instead of the lens of virality.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds so simple, but like most
No, it's
people
profound.
on
That's cool.
Instagram, and it's because Instagram is literally set up in this way.
Yeah.
Like it's no fault of any entrepreneur or
Yeah.
any creator who's on Instagram. It's literally because Instagram is
Yeah,
set
the
up this
system
way.
is set up that way.
Yeah, it's set
Totally.
up to have you focused on the
Yeah.
numbers. I mean, literally, when you open up the app, what do you see in the top right-hand corner? You see how many people have liked this, how many people have followed you since you were last on the app. Like it's so metric focused.
Yeah.
And so anytime I hop on Instagram, it's like through the lens of my business and how can this better my business, knowing that my business is what's actually bettering people's lives.
I get it. That's really cool. Also in your, I think I know this, like you talk about content systems versus content calendars.
Yeah.
Right? What does that mean to you? And what is the difference between the two? And how do you create a content system for yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of layers
Yeah.
to this, but I'll give you the simple version, which is that a content calendar is just going to tell you like, okay, on Monday, I'm going to be posting this. On Tuesday, I'm going to be posting this, which is great. But a
Yeah.
content system is actually what works when my phrase is when life gets lifey.
Yeah.
And I had someone who replied to one of my question boxes on my Instagram stories, and they're like, it's so impressive that you've continued posting on Instagram postpartum with baby number 2.
Yeah.
And there was not even like a moment of like, there was not anything where I was like, oh, that's like weird that she said that. I was like, this is literally how I set up my business and how I set up my content system is for life.
Yeah.
Like, and for me, it's like, if it's not set up for seasons, then it's not set up for sustainability at the end of the day. And so for me, batching content is a huge one. And so anytime that I go into, I say anytime as if this has happened it's happened twice.
Yeah.
When I've been pregnant twice.
Yeah.
When I go on maternity leave, I batch out my content in advance because I know that like I want to be present in that season.
Totally.
And so I have a content system which includes batching, which includes repurposing my content. I do a lot of content repurposing. And that's something that I think is totally underrated when it comes to Instagram is people. This kind of actually ties back into that algorithm hamster wheel of like people feel like they have to be on this hamster wheel of constantly creating content when it's like people see 5 to 10% of that content.
Yeah, totally. So like 90% of your audience has not seen old content.
Yeah. So why would you not give that content new life and a new chance by posting it again?
Totally. Yeah.
And so I do a lot of content repurposing I'll repurpose one piece of content anywhere between 5 to 10 times before I like kill
retire
that piece of
Yeah,
content. And so I think that all goes into the content system, right? And so it's just finding something where you're not sitting down and you're being like, okay, well, I need to post some content today.
Yeah.
So what do I post? And when you post in that way, you're not usually posting with strategy. You're posting with urgency of like, okay, I need to create something as fast as possible. And you're usually not thinking about it through the lens of your business of like, how is this piece of content going to deepen relationships? How is this piece of content going to move whatever your business goal is forward, right? And so anytime I'm creating content, when I sit down to batch and I sit down and repurpose, it's all through the lens of like what's going on in my business right now. So like, for example, I'm in a launch right now. So my content is shifting. And so if I were to sit down and be like, okay, I need to create a piece of content within the next 20 minutes, I'm just going to create it as fast as possible. And I'm not going to be thinking about my launch and what content is going to help prepare people for that launch and get them ready to buy.
Yeah, I totally get it. So speaking of launches, like every entrepreneur creator has a launch that like they're the ones that succeed. They're also the ones that don't succeed.
Yeah.
So hey, like what's one that stung and like what do you learn from that?
Yeah. You know, I've had a lot actually that I was trying. I've had some highs and I've had some low lows.
If like month 3 you're doing 25,000, that's a good start.
Yeah.
You know? That's
yeah,
great.
for sure. So the first one that comes to my mind is my program scalability. So the first time that I launched that program, I had one of those like really high launches. It was $100,000 launch, which was my biggest launch to date,
Amazing.
actually.
Gosh.
And that was round 1. And so I ran 6 rounds now. And each round, the enrollment has gone smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And while it does sting, it is also very, very interesting just because buyers have changed so much. You know, like when I first launched Scalability, it was still like, I mean, we were still in post-COVID, but COVID was still pretty new at the time.
Yeah. New in the sense it was stopped, or new that it was picking up?
It had stopped.
Okay,
but
so like
people,
2022, 2021
yes,
or something
yes,
like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so people were still in the space of like, oh, I want to like start my side hustle and like things like that. And so I feel like each launch I've learned something new that has helped me, not just in the sense of that launch, but like how I'm going to sell that offer after.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I've had some lows, like where just as an example, my last launch, I had the goal of having 100 people inside, and I had 35 people inside.
Oh, got it. Yeah. How'd that feel? Stung.
It sucked.
Yeah, totally.
It sucked, for sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like, I mean, entrepreneurship is just this fun game of like, what can I learn from this?
Totally.
What can I learn from this?
Yeah.
What can I learn from this? And for me, and I think this is another thing too, of just how you have your business set up. Like some people have only open and closed enrollment offers. And so they really rely heavily on that launch.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't do well, they're like, oh crap.
Yeah, totally.
You know, for their revenue.
Yeah.
And for me, like I have a lot of different types of offers, and like my membership is constantly running in the background. And so I think that too gives me a lot of different flexibility.
Like diversification.
And
fantastic.
so it's like, this launch flopped and it stung in that moment, but like it didn't necessarily sting in terms of my income.
You're going to be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
And so I think that's another thing too, where I always want to have my business set up in a way where I can have the launches and like have that like what I would consider like a spike of income. And I can also have the launches too where they fail, but I'm not like my livelihood doesn't depend on it. Like I want the stability in the background, which for me has been memberships.
Yeah.
I should say membership singular, not plural. I just have one membership. But I think that's a big thing for me.
Like sustainability is built in.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
Great. Yeah, that's really cool. This wouldn't be a good podcast if we did talk about AI. And so how do you, like somebody who's on Instagram, which is one of the platforms that I think AI content is proliferating the most.
Yeah.
How do you think about just AI in general, and also, but more specifically, like into your workflows and now and into the future? Like, where do you think this goes?
Ooh, I love this question. Yeah. So I think there's kind of two parts to AI that I see on Instagram. One of them is like that AI is literally like people are cloning their, what would be like their visual presence. Yeah. And so they're not actually putting their face on camera. They're putting their AI on camera. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And I'm not for it whatsoever. I think AI is so powerful. I use AI in pretty much every aspect of my business, but I think that that's going to be a place where creators are able to stand out is the personal connection to an actual person, especially the more that AI is like, I don't know if the right word would be like tuned, but like it's going to get harder and harder and harder to be able to tell whether it's
to differentiate, whether
it's AI or whether it's like an actual scenario or actual human being. And so I think that that's one thing is just don't be a faceless account. I call it a faceless account because it's not your actual face if you're using AI. Yeah. It's just not what builds brands at the end of the day. It's not what people connect with. Humans connect with humans.
Love it.
And so that's what I would say is one part of it. The other part of it is like if we're talking about ChatGPT, or it could be any other AI that you might use, but using ChatGPT for your content, I'm all for it to a certain extent. I think that there are people who they're losing their trust in themselves because they're relying so heavily on using AI to create content for them that they don't even know what their voice is anymore.
Fascinating.
And so I think that that's a big thing where, you know, on Instagram, it is vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there and you're not sure how people are going to respond to that. And I think if you are creating through AI and it's not your voice and it's not something that you are like fully behind, you don't have that level of confidence when the trolls come rolling in, or
Right.
when, you know, there's a lack of views, for example. Like, you don't have that level of confidence of like, I know that this is so freaking good
Yeah.
because I created this and I trust myself and I
Yeah.
trust that this is going to land with my people. So I think that that's like the biggest thing for me is like, yes, use ChatGPT for your workflows, and you can use it for so many things when it comes to content creation. And it only continues to just blow my mind the more things that I learn. Like, I
Totally.
mean, you can even integrate, you know, ChatGPT with Canva now. Like,
Yeah.
there's like so many things that you can do
Yeah.
to help speed up your content creation workflow. And I'm not saying to not use those things. Like, I'm team, especially as a mom, anything that's going to,
Team scalability.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
cut down your time,
Yeah.
create spaciousness and ease. Like, please do all of those things, but don't forget to use your own voice and build that self-trust muscle.
Yeah.
Because I think that that's something that's totally going to be lost with AI, is just that self-trust of like, I wrote this message, I know this message, and I believe this so deeply,
Yeah.
you know? And if you don't believe that about your message right now, then you need to be doing something about that.
Yeah. Keep the authenticity.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here we go. This is the time on Creator Commerce where we do the thing that. It's going to be very self-explanatory once you hear me do the first one. So, Maya,
Okay.
you ready for this? The thing that made you believe you could build a business around your own expertise.
Ooh. My husband?
Awesome.
Honestly, wouldn't even say it was my own personal belief. Like, my husband's belief in me has totally fueled everything. Like, he's been the rock. Like, going back to what I was saying, like, when are you going to drop out of nursing school to take your
So
business
cool,
full
yeah.
time? Like, he's always believed in me, and that has fueled my own personal
Oh,
belief.
shout out to your husband. That's awesome. The thing that changed how you define success.
Kids?
Great. The thing that you thought would never happen but did.
Hitting $1 million
There we
in
go.
revenue.
That's amazing.
That was wild.
That's great. The thing that makes you fall in love with creating again when it gets hard.
This is going to be a different answer, but for me, like, creating content just to create it for fun. Like,
Yeah.
I love filming,
Yeah.
and I think it's because of how I started my journey. Like, even back in high school, like, I loved photographing things. Like, I went out with my friends and like we would take pictures in like downtown, or like of like my outfits and like tagging brands, like just doing it for fun instead of like the pressure of like I have to make money.
Yeah. Awesome. The thing you still want to build for yourself or for the next generation of experts.
I think the next thing for me, which I would say is kind of in progress right now, is specifically for moms.
Oh, great.
And so I've had a interesting entrepreneurial journey where I started my business and hit my first $1 million in revenue before I had kids. And ever since then, you know, I'm actually so close to hitting $3 million in revenue
Amazing.
now, having 2 kids. But I think it's so different building a business not having kids versus
Yeah.
having kids, like not just the time commitment, but also just how priorities shift. And
Yeah.
so I think that that's like my next focus is like helping moms realize that even if they have limited time capacity and they want to spend time with their kids as much as possible, like their goals are still possible.
Oh, great. Awesome. And last one, the thing you hope your kids will learn from watching you build this.
That literally anything that they set their mind to is possible.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right, Maya. So this is the time where our podcast guests get to talk to creators and give them a creator assignment. This is something that they can accomplish over the next week or two that's technical and helps them continue to build their business.
I love this. So my tactical tip for you is to add a tripwire. Now, a tripwire is a low-cost offer that pops up after someone opts in for your email list. So let's just say that you have a freebie. I'm going to give the example of one of my freebies. I have 30 free selling on Instagram story prompts. So maybe I posted a reel about this and people are getting a direct message automation with a link to opt in for my 30 free selling on story prompts. After someone types in their name and their email or any other information that I'm going to collect from them, once they hit the subscribe or the opt in or whatever button is on that opt in form page, there's going to be a page that pops up This is your tripwire page. This is a low cost offer you're going to present them as a next step after the lead magnet. And this is really, really important. You don't want this to be a random offer that you're just selling just to sell it. You want it to be a next step for them in their journey. So it's a no-brainer add-on. And so for my 30 free selling on story prompts, I want something that's probably related to selling there. So I might give them additional prompts at a low-cost price point. And that price point for tripwires, the best conversions are between $7 and $47, with the sweet spot that I've found right around $27. So you're gonna go out, you're gonna create that tripwire. It's available for people who opt in. It's gonna be that pop-up page. It's available while they're on that page. After they click off of it, it is gone.
Maya Nicole, thank you so much for coming on Creator Commerce. This has been awesome from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute dream.
Awesome. I really appreciated Maya's perspective on the relationship between virality and building a business. She reminded us that true impact comes from creating for the human being on the other side of the screen, not just the algorithm. For entrepreneurs, I think the most important takeaway is the combination of metrics that she pays attention to: sales, comments, email lists. Those numbers reveal the health of her business and the lives she's impacting. They're not vanity metrics, they're the foundation of sustainability and long-term growth. Thank you so much to our guest, Maya Nicole, and thank you for joining us. Don't forget to click subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss episodes when they drop. See you next time.